Hey, welcome friends. Welcome to those of you joining us both on Facebook, our audience of entrepreneurs there, as well as on LinkedIn live right now. And we're live for a reason. I want you guys to engage. So drop in the chat your questions as we go. We've got a great conversation, great interview today for you on the next episode of the Brokerhood, where we have real conversations with real consultants. Now, for many of you, maybe have never even heard of this before. Never even come across the concept of franchise consulting. What in the world is that? That's what today's going to be about. We're going to actually share a real story of an individual who was a previous franchisee, a very successful one in multi-unit franchise ownership, and the transition and why he transitioned into franchise consulting, how he fell into this. What in the world is this all about? How would I even go about doing this? Is this for me too? All those things we're going to unpack today. So excited to get into it. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome in my good friend, Jeff Weiss. Jeff, welcome and to the Brokerhood. And we're going to welcome in John as well. John is our VP of operations here at BAI. And he's also one of our business coaches here at BAI, coaching franchise consultants as well to help build and grow. And Jeff, thanks for being on, my friend. It's good to see you. How you doing?
Yeah, doing well. Good to see you too, Jared. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, genuinely. I know I've been able to spend a little bit of time with you here and there over the last couple of years and seeing you continue to grow and build your business, but I haven't been able to learn the details of your story. And it's fascinating for me how someone could go from they own all these franchises, right? They own multi-unit franchise ownership. And for a lot of people, that's the dream, isn't it? That's when they think about leaving their career, leaving the corporate life, and they're thinking about buying into these different businesses, franchises, right? They understand, man, wealth and money and freedom, all that stuff, that's going to come really from multi-unit. When you get there, that's when you, in a quote, in some way, probably made it, right? But your story is fascinating, so I'm excited to learn more about it and this transition you made. So tell me, let's start there, Jeff. Start with the beginning. Share a little bit about your background and your journey into franchising.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up around franchising. My dad was a franchisee my entire time growing up. Like I tell people, franchising got baked into my DNA in an early age. He was a pharmacist and a franchisee with the medicine shop.
Okay.
And I remember spending a lot of time in his store and just
fond memories, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was young, but I remember a number of things, how he knew every customer's name that walked in his store. And
wow,
there's a lot of things that really resonated with me. But I graduated college and got my degree in accounting and started my career in accounting and finance roles.
Okay.
Spent 10 very unfulfilling years in corporate America.
Okay.
I suppose I was always very entrepreneurial at a young age. I was out delivering newspapers. When it snowed, I was walking the neighborhoods looking to clear driveways and make some money. Business ownership was always something that was in my mind. I started a business in college to make some money. Eventually, I hit that point where I knew corporate America long-term just wasn't going to be my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I wanted to do my own thing, build my own dream, if you will. The natural progression for me was to look into franchising, given my dad's experience. And given that his was more of a retail-oriented type franchise, that's probably what led me more so to focus on those types of opportunities. And lo and behold, I landed with a franchise called Learning Express Toys, children's educational toy store franchise. And it's their second franchisee here in the state of Georgia. And
you were number 2 in the state. Okay.
In the state.
Okay, gotcha.
But eventually grew to a couple locations, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And had a real good run over 15 years. Ultimately, I ended up selling my business, ironically, to one of my former employees.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then, like we're going to talk about today, found my way to franchise consulting.
Yeah. Wow. That's fascinating. So you come from 3 generations of franchise ownership, franchisees. Can you tell me a little bit more about that legacy and how it's really influenced your perspective on franchising?
Yeah, so my dad had a real good run with his franchise. His store is still there almost 50 years later on its third owner.
It's still there.
Still there. Yep.
Amazing.
He was able to retire at a young age.
Okay.
So certainly that didn't come without a lot of hard work and effort. I learned a lot from him. And so I'm the middle of the 3. And now I've got a daughter that's spent the last few years since she graduated college working in franchising, but on the franchisor side. So that's given me a unique
Very
perspective
cool.
as well, just watching her journey with
Sure.
an emerging brand and seeing how hard she works for the franchisees in that system.
Yeah. Wow, man, that's incredible. Did you feel like when your dad was going through that, when he worked his butt off to get to a place where he could retire early but continue to be a franchisee, do you think you learned when you were growing up hard work from his experience? Or growing up, a lot of people see that and they don't really realize that what their parents have earned was hard work. They just assume it's super easy to make money and this is going to be a breeze. And did you grow up a spoiled, rotten kid because of that? Or did you learn hard work from your father from that experience? Or what did that look like for you?
Now, I learned the value of hard work and what it takes to have a successful business.
Yeah.
But I also learned that there's the good and there's the challenging. It's not a straight path, if you will. Business ownership is a little bit of a roller coaster ride. I remember seeing him up in his office every night doing payroll and paperwork and ordering, and no such thing as computers back then. It was the Apple IIe that was just coming into fruition. And being a pharmacist, he just couldn't leave his store to anybody.
Yeah.
If he wanted to take some time off,
and
he had to find that relief pharmacist and somebody that he could trust. And I saw the challenges with that. And when we were on vacation, there were times when, his phone was ringing or the phone was ringing and there was questions and some of those dynamics for sure. Yeah. I saw some of what he went through with landlords. He ended up moving his store when he sold. It was the third location all there within a close area. But he had some challenges with leases coming up and the landlord wanting to use the space for other things. And
But your dad didn't exit though, or did he exit? No. Okay. He never exited.
No, he just had to move.
You did.
Say again.
For you did though, right? So tell me about that.
I'm sorry. No, my dad did exit. He ended up selling his business. Yeah. It's on his third owner now. He had always hoped that either me or my brother would have gone to pharmacy school and taken it over, but it wasn't really either of our cup of tea. Yeah. But that's one thing. When you own a business, you really don't notice how much the people around you are learning, especially, your kids, how much they see and how much it can impact their lives. Yeah. I've got a son now that's an entrepreneur as well. He's into a number of different businesses. None of them are franchises, but I think him just watching my journey played a large part in the path that he followed as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great thought of what are our kids learning from the examples that we are setting. And so for you exited as well. You made the decision to sell and you raised up this employee, sold it to them. Why not? Why'd you do that? Why did you do that rather than get more stores, continue to build this kind of franchise ownership empire, so to speak?
Yeah, I was about to reach that magic age of 50 and my lease was coming up for renewal. And my heart was in one place and my mind was in another. And I knew if I was ever going to do anything different, it was probably the time. Okay. And quite honestly, I was looking for a sign. I was real uneasy about what the best path forward might be. And lo and behold, like I mentioned, one of my former employees approached me about franchising with Learning Express. And our conversations progressed to where she ended up acquiring my business. So it worked out for the best. And
that's good. Why didn't you go into another franchise instead? Why didn't you explore, since you knew that, why didn't you explore that rather than franchise consulting?
When I exited my business, I wasn't quite sure what was going to come next. Okay. And funny story, I went to a franchise show here in Atlanta. Okay. Just to see what was out there and see if maybe that was something that I would do. Yeah. And I met a lot of people. And ironically, I ran into a gentleman here locally with a franchise. Okay. And we had a real good conversation. And he invited me to come visit and travel through their discovery day process. Okay. Take me through as if I was a candidate. I think it was twofold in his mind.
It sounds like it. I'm picking up on it.
See if he can
he's playing chess
about the opportunity, but also get my feedback on how I felt about the process and what they were sharing and what they were all about. And that was a great experience. But ultimately, I ended up going back into the corporate world. Okay. Only lasted 6 months. What it did was it reminded me that I can't work
heard
for
that
anybody
story
else.
so many times, Jeff. You can't do that after you've been your own boss for so long.
No, not I couldn't. Maybe some people can, but for me, it was just something that I knew wasn't
not the right fit.
Wasn't the right fit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then a lot of people that are watching this now, or even might be watching this later, whatever, not even know that franchise consulting is an option. So from your point of view, why does it make sense, or why does it make such a natural transition really for experienced operators and business owners like yourself?
Yeah, I think, what you begin to realize once you get into something like this, having had the experience that you have had in business ownership, is how much you've really been exposed to, how much you've learned, how much you can really impart to others. Even when I had my franchise, my business, a lot of people look at you and they're full of questions about how you got started and what business ownership is all about. Because I think there's a lot of people out there that would love to do it, but they have a lot of fear. So there was a lot of that went on during my time as a franchise owner. A lot of conversations as I took validation calls with candidates who were interested in becoming Learning Express franchisees and such. And as you talk to more and more people, you almost take a step back, and sometimes you surprise yourself with, how much you've actually learned, how much you've gained. I went back to school when I was in corporate America and got my MBA in entrepreneurship.
Oh, really?
But I can tell you that my first couple of years as a franchisee in business, as a business owner, I probably learned more.
Far more valuable, huh?
Yeah, I probably got a second degree through that.
Yeah.
It was funny how I found my way to franchise consulting.
Yeah, tell me about that.
I was on LinkedIn and came across one of my former fellow franchisees with Learning Express.
Okay.
And their profile showed them as a franchise consultant. And I was like,
what's that?
What is a franchise consultant? I had no idea franchise consultants even existed when I was exploring franchises many years ago. So I reached out to him to see what he was up to. We were pretty close when we owned our businesses, and he was with Business Alliance. And gave me the inside scoop. And when I got out of business ownership and ultimately, like I said, I got into that corporate role that I exited, there were a lot of thoughts in my mind as to what was going to be most important to me if I did get back into a business of my own and such. And as he explained it and what he did, it just checked so many of the boxes of what I was looking for as well, in the way of flexibility and being able to help people and all those types of things.
Yeah, good. And so you feel like you have been able to experience those things that you got into this hoping it would provide?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. It's been awesome. It was without a doubt, the ideal next step. A lot different than what I was doing previously, obviously. And it's just from the simple standpoint that it's given me so much more flexibility than I had. And certainly there's opportunity for some significant income, and ultimately just helping people to go down a similar path as myself. Corporate America has changed so much. I know what I went through in just the 10 years that I was in corporate and such. And there's a lot of people out there that they're not happy. They're not finding a whole lot of passion and excitement through what they're doing in that cubicle every day.
Yeah, that's good. I'd love to know how much as a franchisee, how that affects or impacts your influence as a consultant. How do you think your experience as a franchisee influences how you are guiding others toward franchising? How does that help?
I think the biggest thing is it gives me a lot of credibility. I've been where people are hoping to go, and who better to take direction from than somebody that has walked the path before you. With Learning Express, I often tell people I probably got into a franchise with as many moving parts as you can imagine. Probably a more complicated type business than a lot that are out there. Signing a lease, brick and mortar location. My first location was a brand new shopping center, so went through the complete build out, starting with concrete floors and steel beams and that whole process.
Wow.
Negotiating leases. And then a business that was one where you had to carry a lot of inventory. It was very seasonal. We could do 30 to 40% of our year in the fourth quarter being a toy store. Yeah. So a lot of different vendors. So just a lot of moving parts. It was a great experience for me. I learned so much about myself and some of the skills that I didn't even realize that I had. It was one of those businesses where you really had to choose the role that you wanted to play and then hire for the others. So there was a lot of introspection that was required, playing into your own strengths and then finding those people that could represent the business real well. It was a very trend-driven business as well. So as far as having a lot of inventory with these trends, you had to be focused on what was up and coming and when those trends were starting to die off and making sure you didn't get caught up with too much inventory and that type of thing. Yeah, so a lot of complication to it, but all those things have now helped me in that I can speak to so many of the different dynamics that happen with business ownership and so much of what people go through and why perhaps a mobile concept might be better than a brick and mortar concept for some of my clients.
Okay. Fascinating. Yeah, that's so good. John, what questions do you have? I know you're a coach for a lot of our consultants within our network, helping them launch and build and scale their franchise consulting businesses. What's intriguing to you about Jeff's story, and what questions do you have for him?
Oh, many things. Just a couple though. I was curious if there's a particular. You mentioned your dad, and I think that's awesome. I think great entrepreneurs and leaders tend to have these mentors and people in our lives that make that kind of impact. Yeah. Is there a particular philosophy or belief or mantra that your dad had that, you remember that resonates with you, that you think was a big part of his success? Anything that was unique about his character, unique about his style, or did he have a belief, or did he have like a philosophy of his own? Can you share anything about that? I was curious.
Yeah, I think it was just his overall care for his customers. There were so many of his customers that would much rather come in and talk to him than even go to their doctor.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Just
the doctor didn't have interpersonal skills. He did.
Yeah, it's just more so the way he made people feel. He never came out and said it this way that people aren't going to remember what you said or did, but how you made them feel. But ultimately, I think that was his mantra, and that's what kept such a loyal customer base.
Yeah, for sure. And then Jeff, the people that are looking at this call perhaps are thinking about maybe making a move to become a franchise consultant. I know there's a lot of advice you could provide, but is there anything that particularly sticks out if you can go back when you were first approaching the business? A lot of people are probably thinking about, what is it going to take for me to succeed? What comes to mind? What advice or what would you say is a key essential for people to realize at this point if they're evaluating this opportunity? Because they're probably thinking, is this going to work for me? What is it about them that they need to be able to step into this opportunity, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think talking to a lot of people that are already involved in franchise consulting can only help. I think it's important to find out what others see as the keys to success for them and what it takes to find success in this business and what you're going to be tasked with day in and day out. I don't think it's unlike any other business. The more you pour into it, the better your chance of success. There's a lot of continuing education. You've got to learn about your inventory of franchise brands because ultimately a big part of what you do is learning about your clients and trying to match them to the right opportunities for them.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think those are some of the keys. Again, it's not unlike every other business. Really got to learn about the overall dynamics.
Yeah. Jeff, just final question, Jared, is I know you don't have to do this business. You want to do this business. And I was curious, what are your favorite moments about this business that keep you wanting to do this, number one? And then number two, would you agree that this is something that you could do forever? You might ratchet back your efforts, but do you feel like this is something you can just continue to do for as long as you want to? Share some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I certainly hope to. I think this is my glide path into retirement. It's something that I really enjoy, that I'm passionate about. It's very rewarding. And I think when you get that message from somebody that you worked with in the past, sharing their success, seeing that they were first-year franchisee, they were awarded top new franchisee in the system, that type of thing. Just following some of my past clients' journeys online and seeing the success that they're finding and some of the comments that they make about so glad that they found what it is that they're doing. And all those things are just so rewarding, knowing that you played a part in helping to change somebody's life.
Yeah, knowing that you got to help with that, it brings a lot of value, worth.
It does. Yeah. Ultimately, they've got to find the courage and the motivation, the drive, and all those types of things. But the biggest part is just drawing their attention to so much of what's out there. A lot of times people go into the whole franchise search and they've got some blinders on. Much like I might have focused more so on retail than paying attention to a lot of the other opportunities that were out there, and just being able to call their attention to franchises that they didn't even know existed or realize could be a good fit for them is something that I truly enjoy.
Yeah. Well, okay. So tell me this, and I got a last couple of questions for you as we start to wrap up, Jeff. People are watching this right now. Previous franchise ownership, super valuable. Okay, not necessarily a requirement to become a franchise consultant, but very valuable, as you can imagine. You're able to leverage it, and you've helped who knows how many people step into business ownership, right? Now, incredible. However, everyone that's watching this that do have previous franchise ownership experience, that doesn't mean they are necessarily a good fit for franchise consulting either. So from your role, from your perspective as a consultant, your job, your role, your business is to help people find the right fit.
Right.
What are some other things? Experience is helpful. What are some other things that if someone's going to evaluate maybe making this shift or looking into this a little further, what are some things they need to evaluate about themselves that would help them understand if they might be a good fit for franchise consulting or not? What else does it take?
Yeah, I think it takes a good attitude. You're going to run into all different types of people. Some people are just at the very outset thinking about business ownership, and there's others that have made the decision that they want to do it and they want to find a franchise because they want to get into business ownership with training wheels, if you will. Proven model where everything's figured out for them. But you got to be able to walk the journey with these people and really support them and put their best interests ahead of yours. Really, for me, that's one of the more important things. I want to do right by people and be able to lay my head down at night. This is a big investment next to people's homes. Oftentimes it's the next largest investment that they make in their life. And there's a lot on the line. It's not just your client, it's their family and all those dynamics that go into it as well. So just being able to call people's attention to what it's all about. And it's not always rainbows. It's tough. There's a lot of things that you go through, a lot of things that you've experienced, and show folks all the different sides of that coin, I think is important. I think back to how much I dealt with, and as I work with clients and you hear questions about how do you deal with finding the right employee, and there's always questions about competition. And I had so much experience with all those types of things and all those challenges. And I didn't always make the right decision. Just being honest with people and just making them think about, or helping them, I should say, to think about things a little bit differently than perhaps they had.
Yeah, that's so good, Jeff. I think so deeply, as you mentioned, what you learned from your father is you got to care about people. And if you care about people, if you can prioritize people, I think you'll find a lot of success in this. And a big part of that, I would assume, is the fact that you've been a part of the BAI network for a while now, too. So my last question for you is this: what kind of role has that played in your business? What role has the community, has the training, has the support played in helping you grow your consulting business?
I think it's great. I often tell people I wouldn't have gotten into the toy business if it wasn't through a franchise.
Yeah,
I think it's the same way with franchise consulting. You just have so many tools and resources at your disposal when you're evaluating a franchise. Ideally, you're aligning yourself with a franchise system that's very collaborative. I think we have that within BAI as well. Consultants aren't afraid to share. I've always taken the mindset that you got to give to get. I try to help new consultants and that sort of thing. But the resources are there, the support from the home office, the continuing education. There's so much that you can tap into to really help. It became evident to me once I got involved with BAI that the leadership team certainly has consultants' best interests in mind, and they're trying to help us to be as successful as we can be.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's our focus, is we want to lift you guys up and help you guys achieve what you've set out to achieve from the beginning of this business. The goals you had in mind, how do we help you get there and beyond? That's our whole hope, for sure. And so, Jeff, again, thanks for being a part of this and sharing your time and your wisdom. Friends, if you're watching this right now and you're curious to explore or learn more, literally, I'm going to drop it in the chat right now, a link for you to explore more about franchise consulting, get some more information there. You can begin a conversation with us if you want to see if this might be a good fit for you. If you want to get connected with Jeff, and you want to utilize his services at Beacon Franchise and then Consulting, then you can do that through that app as well. Reach out to us, that website as well. Reach out to us and do that very thing. If you are also on a computer screen, and you can just scan the QR code at the top here, and that'll take you to that same place. But Jeff, my last question for you, as they're doing that, what's next for you? What's your vision for where you'd like your consulting service to be in the next few years?
Yeah, I think quite honestly, it's a lot of continuing to do what I've been doing. The one thing that I've thought about trying to do a little bit more is get involved here in the local community.
Yeah.
But yeah, beyond that, it's just continuing to educate myself so that I can educate my clients. I've almost taken my toy store mindset into this business. Like I mentioned, the toy business was very trend driven. You have to pay attention to what's new and up and coming. Yeah. And that's the exciting thing about the franchise industry overall, is that there's always new things that are happening. You don't know who you're going to run into. It's a great opportunity to build a lot of relationships. I'm just eager to see what comes next. There's going to be some surprises ultimately, but that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah, we're excited to watch too and be a part of it as well, Jeff. Again, thanks for doing this, my friend. John, thanks for hopping on as well. Everyone else, hopefully get a conversation going here soon. If you want to learn more, please do click the link and we can get started today. Until then, we'll see you all. Take care.